Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we discuss all things financial literacy. Recently, I was approved for one of the most unexpected credit cards that I added to my wallet in a very long time. And I'm talking about the Fetch Rewards credit card issued on the American Express network, but it's powered by a company called Imprint. I covered every Imprint credit card in a recent video, and this was one of the cards that needed its own dedicated review. This was a soft pull card with a limit of $7,500. And I didn't have to take a hard inquiry to get this card. And if you want more information, then please refer to my previous video about Imprint. I'm going to link the video right here. This card is directly tied to an app that, if I'm being completely honest, I ignored for years. If you've never heard of Fetch Rewards before, I don't blame you. I've heard the name myself floating around, but I never gave it a second look. I assumed that it was just another receipt scanning app that promised free money and delivered pennies. And for a long time, that assumption was mostly correct. What changed everything was the launch of this credit card. I spent a lot of time researching this card and using the app the way that most people would, and I tested the features, I redeemed the points, I played the games, I spun the wheel, and I tracked the value. This video is the result of that entire experience. So this is a realistic, honest deep dive into what the Fetch card actually is, how the app works, how the points really convert, and what the credit card offers, and whether this entire ecosystem is worth your time at all. And if everything sounds good, you can apply for this card with a guaranteed limit, no docs, and no hard inquiry. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly who Fetch Rewards is, what the card is used for, and whether this card deserves a spot in your wallet, or if you should completely ignore the card altogether. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Before we even talk about the credit card, we need to understand the foundation. Fetch Rewards started as a receipt scanning app. The basic idea was simple. You buy things, then you scan the receipt, and Fetch would give you points. Those points can then be redeemed for gift cards. Now, at first glance, this sounds almost too simple, and honestly, for a long time, it was not very compelling. The value proposition was never about getting rich or even saving meaningful money overnight. It was about layering small rewards on top of purchases that you were already making. Over time, Fetch evolved. They expanded beyond physical receipts, and you can now link online retailers like Amazon, Walmart, Target, and Instacart. So that means digital receipts earn points as well, without you needing to scan anything manually. Fetch also started building partnerships with brands, and certain products do earn bonus points. There are categories that rotate with promotions, there are seasonal offers that appear and disappear, and the app slowly turned into a gamified saving ecosystem rather than just a receipt dump. And that is where the experience starts to get kind of interesting. Now, when you open the Fetch app, the first thing you see is your point balance. The home screen is heavily personalized, and Fetch tracks what you buy, where you shop, and which offers you interact with. Then based on that data, the app will surface deals it thinks you will actually use. You'll see offers for receipt scans, brand-specific bonuses, limited time multipliers, and card-exclusive deals if you have the Fetch credit card. One thing Fetch does very well is making this app feel very active. You'll see category updates for restaurants near you, grocery deals, and they'll change this every single week. And it's intentional. Fetch is designed to feel alive and not static. And at the core of Fetch is receipt scanning. Every receipt you scan earns points. If you don't have the credit card, you typically earn a minimum of 25 points per receipt. If you do have the card, that number increases slightly. On paper, 25 points will sound meaningless, and mathematically, it mostly is. Fetch points are generally valued at about 1,000 points per dollar. That means scanning one receipt earns you about 2.5 cents. This is where most people immediately would lose interest, but here is the key mindset shift. Fetch is not designed to replace your cashback cards or your travel rewards. It's designed to reward volume and consistency. So think about this. If you scan 40 receipts, you earn about $1. That sounds terrible until you realize most people are already generating receipts passively. Groceries, gas, coffee, Amazon orders, household items, pharmacy purchases, dining, these all produce receipts. So if you're scanning what you already generate, then the effort is minimal. Where Fetch really starts to shine is not basic receipt scans, but stacked offers. Fetch partners directly with brands. These brand offers are where the real value come in. You might see offers like 10 points per dollar spent at General Mills, or bonus points for buying specific items 3 times, or seasonal promotions tied to the holidays. These offers stack on top of receipt scans, so that means that one grocery trip can generate multiple layers of points. The app does a surprisingly good job of showing you which items qualify and what counts and how these purchases are required. And if points don't post correctly, Fetch support is actually responsive. In my experience, a dispute can be resolved within 24 hours. This is not something that I expected, but it does matter. And Fetch allows you to link things like Amazon, Walmart, Target, Instacart once again, and that eliminates the need for you to manually scan receipts for online purchases. Once linked, Fetch will automatically pull eligible transactions and apply these points. This feature alone makes the app far more usable, and it turns Fetch into a passive system rather than just being like a receipt chore. You buy things online anyway, Fetch simply layers points on top of that. Now, this is where clarity matters. On average, once again, 1,000 Fetch points will only equal $1 in value. That is the baseline you should always use when evaluating redemptions. However, not all redemptions are equal. There are some gift cards that cost more points per dollar than others. Amazon gift cards, for example, often have worse conversion rates at lower denominations. Larger denominations tend to be closer to fair value. Other merchants offer better value per point. Movie theaters, restaurants, and hotels often provide near one-to-one value. Visa cards are usually the worst value. You pay a premium in points for flexibility, and this means your redemption strategy really does matter. So I want to make this very clear now. Fetch rewards are not for everyone. If you hate apps, if you hate tracking offers or scanning receipts, then this is not for you. If you want simple, automatic 2% cash back with zero thought, then this is definitely not for you. Fetch is better for families or high volume shoppers, couponers, or people who enjoy stacking small wins over time. It rewards consistency, not optimization. Now, let's talk about the credit card. It's issued by First Electronic Bank with card servicing handled by Imprint Payments. One of the most attractive features of the Fetch card is that it doesn't charge an annual fee. On top of that, the card doesn't charge foreign transaction fees, which makes it usable outside of the US for international purchases. I would say that the Fetch card is designed for people with fair to good credit. When you use the Fetch card itself, the earning structure is straightforward. On retail and grocery purchases, this card earns 10 Fetch points for every dollar that you spend. So that means a $100 grocery trip earns about 1,000 Fetch points before any bonuses are even applied. On all other purchases, the card earns 5 Fetch points per dollar. A $100 purchase outside of retail and grocery would earn 500 Fetch points as the base reward. Now, on top of those base points, every single purchase made with the Fetch card unlocks the spin and win feature inside of the Fetch app. After your transactions post, you get a chance to spin for bonus points, and each spin can award up to 1,200 additional Fetch points on that single transaction. While you won't hit the maximum every time, the important thing to understand is that every purchase has upside beyond the base earning rate. Even a small purchase can suddenly become far more valuable if the spin lands high. However, you must open the Fetch app and spin the digital wheel to unlock the bonus points. If you miss this step consistently, your return drops to just about 0.5 to 1%, making this one of the weakest reward cards available. Now here's the reality check. If you spend $3,000 a month with this card, that generates about $630 annually, or that's a 1.75% rate. It sounds decent until you realize a straightforward 2% cashback card will deliver $720 of value with zero extra work. That's $90 more in your pocket without opening an app 100 times per year. So you'll have to ask yourself, is the gamification worth an extra 30 seconds per transaction? And for most people, their answer would probably be no. But if you're rebuilding your credit and you already use Fetch daily and you genuinely enjoy spinning the wheel, I think that this card could occupy a specific niche worth exploring. And finally, let's discuss the data points to get approved for this card. Now, first thing, this card does allow you to get pre-approved before accepting the offer. However, you will need to download the Fetch app and apply through there. Your TransUnion Credit Bureau report must be unfrozen or you will not be able to see your offer. Now, when it comes to credit score requirements, there's no public available information about this card or any Imprint card for that matter. However, if you go to imprint.co/partners, you'll see all the other brands that Imprint partners with and those credit cards as well. Now again, while specific requirements for consumers applying for an Imprint card vary by brand, the overall average would indicate you need a credit score of at least 670, and I believe this particular card is actually geared towards borrowers with lower credit scores based on the reward structure. But again, that's from my own deductive reasoning. I do think if you have a score in the low 600s to around like the 620 range, you could probably get approved for this card. You might even be able to get approved if you have like a 580 credit score. However, you can't have any derogatory marks. That is one of the things. Now, I would suggest only having around 3 hard inquiries or less in the last 6 months. That's just a rule of thumb. I would also suggest that if you have any credit card utilization that's above 10%, I would pay that down to get it below 10%. Again, no derogatory marks like late payments, collections, or charge-offs. And keep in mind, you can get pre-qualified for this card, so it doesn't hurt to apply. Now, this card is not for everyone. The Fetch American Express card represents a different approach to credit card rewards. Instead of focusing on cashback or travel points alone, it integrates deeply with an existing reward app that many people already use. And for the right user, this creates a layered reward experience that can significantly increase the value of everyday spending. However, this card is not universally ideal. The requirements for active engagement and the reliance on the Fetch points rather than just the cashback means it works best for people who are already comfortable within the Fetch ecosystem. So if you prefer simplicity, there are other cards that may be better suited for your style. Ultimately, the Fetch card is less about replacing your primary credit card and more about enhancing an existing reward strategy. If you already use Fetch regularly, then this card can amplify what you're already doing. If you don't, the value proposition may feel less compelling, and then this card is essentially a 1.75% to 1% cashback card, which is one of the weakest reward structures anyone can get today. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Now, if you made it this far, you understand Fetch rewards better than 90% of people who download the app. And if you want to try it, I'll leave a link down in the description for you to apply. If you don't, I don't think you're missing out on anything critical. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. I'll see you in the next one, and you guys have a wonderful day.